Like, does Shanahan's offense require a traditional fullback?
I don't know if he has to be traditional. I think that position is as we all know, is a bit of a dying breed. So it's a position that's sometimes hard to find now, especially in coming out of college football. There aren't a lot of true fullbacks. But sometimes you'll have to convert guys, whether you find a linebacker, whether it's maybe a little bit of a shorter tight end. He has traditional work out of the two-back sets.
Mike,
go ahead.
I'm sorry. What are your impressions of Mitchell Schwartz?
Mitchell, I just got a chance to meet him the other day in the weight room. He's a guy that our coaches, when they evaluated the tape, felt real good about him, kind of where he was. And, we feel good. We feel pretty confident about where we are with the right tackle spot. But he's a guy that looking forward to coaching him, and I think there'll be some transition for the offensive linemen with the new system. They did a decent amount of the zone scheme stuff last year, but didn't major in it, which I think we will be more in that mode. But our guys think that he's very capable of transition.
And when you say you feel good about him and everything, does that mean you haven't talked at all about possibly moving him to guard? That's kind of been floated out there a little bit.
I think we have to wait till the draft plays out. But I think once the kind of the dust settles from the draft, and you look at, we always want to be in the position of putting our best 11 on the field. So if let's say we've taken a tackle and we decide, hey, listen, we're better off with these are the 5 guys that need to be out there. Let's make that work. Whether it's taking a tackle we drafted and putting him in guard, or vice versa. I think anytime you have versatile linemen, that helps. With a guy like McQuiston that could play both. So, I think the system lends itself to that too. That it's similar techniques at guard and attack.
Is there any fallback plan if the worst happened and Alex Mack didn't play for the Browns this year?
It's a question that's probably better for Ray, but we've discussed all possibilities.
What record is it?
We've discussed all possibilities.
Mike, can you characterize kind of how you went after some of the top cornerbacks in the draft, including, I believe, Darrelle Revis, and are you going to need to draft a cornerback that can start?
I don't think that's necessarily the case, that we have to draft a starter. I think this is a good corner draft. So there's some guys that, again, I think it's a deep draft in all positions. I think a lot of people have realized that as they kind of start to slot guys, they realize that there's a lot more guys with first-round grades than first-round slots. So that's one of the things that we're most excited about, that we're bringing that many picks to a deep draft. So corner's a position that's always been very important for our system. Going back to when Rex and I were in Baltimore, taking it to New York, and have the ability to have a guy like Darrelle Revis and Antonio Cromartie, and going to Buffalo, we have a Kelvin and a Gilmore. We have those guys that can you can really lock down the outside and play press man and really play 9-on-9 against everybody else. That's important, and that's why we're thrilled to have Joe. If the opportunity presents itself for us to grab a corner, then I'll more than likely be on the table.
Do you feel?
How close did you come to training for
I think it was kicked around. I don't know how serious it ever got. I think the trade part of it was the difficult part of it, given what the circumstances were.
Why is it? Obviously, it was for you guys and for everyone else, there's no one traded for him. Why is it just a combination of trading salary, or?
Yeah, I mean, it's a better question for Ray, but I think it's when you're trading, you're assuming that current contract. There's no guarantee of renegotiations. When you trade, you're taking a contract as is.
How disappointed were you guys not to land or have a chance to land a man fraud, and is Rex Jackson still possible?
Yeah, options are still on the table for us to add a veteran quarterback. Hard for me to discuss Matt. I think a lot of it was made of the relationship between Matt and Kyle. lot of people kind of put us in the same boat. But he's Houston executed a trade to Oakland, and he never came to the market.
Mike, interest in Mark Sanchez, having been around him for a number of years.
Yeah, just spoke on that a little while ago. Mark and I have had a great relationship. Was part of two great runs to AFC Championship games. I think Mark's a quarterback that certainly perform in this league, and I think he took some criticism, and I think that happens in football. It's natural. When a team's successful, the quarterback gets a lot of credit. When a team's not, he gets probably too much of the blame, and I think that was a bit of a case with Mark. He's a player that we'll discuss. If he's a guy that can make the Cleveland Browns better, then we'll be interested in presenting him.
Mike, do you obviously you got your top linebacker target with Dansby. Do you feel the need to get another starting caliber inside linebacker?
I feel good about Craig Robertson. It's not something that's a glaring need. And that'll come to me. I think this is a good linebacker draft, and that's why we feel so good if that opportunity presents itself that we'll be able to do that. It's not a position that in my mind just jumps out to me. That's something we absolutely have to address.
And going back to Carrington for 1 minute, would it be with him and Desmond Bryant and Reuben? Would that facilitate a move involving maybe Reuben?
No, I wouldn't say that. Guys like that, I've always been a firm believer in rotating your defensive linemen. And it's hard to just have your three guys out there, or whether it's two, whether you're in nickel defense, and just having them out there all the time. I think in this league, that especially when teams go up tempo, that you have to have great depth in your defensive line. You have to have guys that can rush the passer in the fourth quarter and be fresh. So I don't see that as the case at all.